Idea was that really want to build the Pakistan brand. People have very good ideas, but at times they don't have access to capital.
Yes.
We've raised north of like $4 million.
Yeah.
We are looking to open spaces tomorrow in Saudi,
Wonderful.
UAE,
Yes.
Jordan, and
Yes. Assalamualaikum everyone, my name is Nitasha and welcome to another episode of Shaam Ki Chai, जहाँ पे हम बहुत ही कूल पाकिस्तानियों की कहानियाँ आपके सामने लेकर आते हैं। हमारा ये वाला सीजन कोलैब्स ने पावर किया है और हम पाकिस्तान के जो entrepreneurs हैं, startups हैं, founders हैं, उनसे बात कर रहे हैं। And today we actually have the co-founder and CEO of Collabs on our show. Thank you, Umar, for coming. It's great to have you on.
thank you for having me. And great to be here, and so happy to see so many different founders come through our spaces.
Yeah, I mean, it's been incredible. We've been filming all day. We've had all kinds of people come in and out. You're doing great things, and I want to dive into all of your wonderful work. One of the questions I had for you was, Pakistan जो है वो बहुत एक brick or mortar type country है, right? हमारा agriculture है, हम कपड़ा बेचते हैं, but you decided to go in this tech space, especially the software space, like tell me more about why you chose this specific industry in a country like Pakistan.
I think like when you talk about brick and mortar, right? So we're one of the only venture-backed brick and mortar companies in the country.
Yes, you are.
So in terms of brick and mortar, I think the idea was that there's a huge issue with regards to infrastructure.
ठीक है.
Anyone that wants to start business in Pakistan can't find safe spaces to work.
Yes.
Lack of internet, not a good quality space to operate from.
Right.
So I think from that perspective, it's very, very important to provide spaces like these. So I think back in 2019, when I moved back to Pakistan, so I spent about 10 years or maybe close to a decade working in private equity and venture capital.
Yes, you did.
Primarily in London, Mexico, everywhere, all around the world. I saw that Pakistan mein so many people want to come back and start businesses, but they don't have the tools.
Right.
So I mean that's why for us, like at Collabs, I think the core is that we want to be that gateway into Pakistan, where we can enable businesses to start.
Yeah.
So they don't have to worry about where to set up the office, how to get internet, how to get access to other founders, how to sell the first product. So I think from that perspective, the idea was, okay, do it, but do it with scale.
Right.
So when we saw the market here for like co-working and flexible workspaces, it was so small and there was no large players. So we really said, okay, we want to compete on a global level. This is what we have to do differently.
Nice. And so why did you actually, because you've been talking about all of these like logistical issues of having a business in Pakistan, which I'm sure you faced, right?
Yeah.
So आप कहीं पे भी headquarter कर सकते थे इसका, but why did you choose Pakistan? Like what was it about Pakistan that you were like, oh, it has to be here?
Again, I am Pakistani myself.
Yes.
I grew up in Lahore.
ठीक है.
I come from a very old family in Lahore. We have a family history in
Yes, you
the
do.
early 19th century. I think the
Yeah.
core was very, very patriotic about Pakistan.
बिल्कुल.
हालांकि मैं 13 साल बाहर रहा हूँ.
जी.
Idea was that really want to build the Pakistan brand.
अच्छा.
And I've always been a proponent of Pakistan. I've lived in like 6-7 different countries. Mexico, Turkey, London, Dubai. Like, idea is that Pakistan में जो opportunity है ना, it is so underutilized because I would see markets like Indonesia, Egypt, Mexico, and like there's similar demographics, but they've grown so fast. So I think for me as a Pakistani, I thought कि ये बाकी लोग कर सकते तो हम क्यों नहीं कर सकते? I think it's also attaching two things.
Yeah.
People have very good ideas, but at times they don't have access to capital.
Yes.
At the same time, they think very small.
Yeah.
When you go out in Europe and globally around the world, people are really doing very great things. And their small ideas can be super driven or like accelerated through just access to capital. So I think the idea was that, I mean, why is no one doing this properly in Pakistan? And that access to capital and all those items helped us push those things forward.
When you look at all of the different industries in Pakistan, like not every industry is like ripe for technological innovation. So in your perspective, which ones are just like ready for like a technology disruption?
I think generally, if you look at the last 7 years, right? I think it's north of about $500 million that come into Pakistan.
Yes, they have, yes.
And primarily any industry.
Yes.
E-commerce,
Yeah.
fashion,
Bilkul.
even from ordering your grocery. Instead of going to a dukaan or a corner shop and actually ordering on your phone. So I think the whole perspective of technology in the last 2 decades has shifted most traditional industries online.
Right.
And you see the developed world adapting to it first.
Yes.
But what we call emerging markets or global growth markets or frontier markets, I think the idea is that there's an opportunity in any sort of sector.
Right.
Be it food delivery,
Right.
be it e-commerce,
Bilkul.
be it something like a car wash, right?
Yeah.
Be it ordering petrol through your phone, right?
Yeah,
It's just anything can be automated.
Yes.
And I think the idea is that's the power of the smartphone, right?
Yes,
I
it
mean,
is.
the smartphone is like so powerful now that
yes.
anything and everything happens on the same phone.
Yes.
And I think that is what has changed the world also, right?
Yes.
I mean,
It's like 90% market penetration of the smartphone.
and like Pakistan has 250 million people,
Yes, it does.
170 million people using internet,
Yes.
and about 110 million using smartphones.
Yes, there is, yes.
So imagine like 110 million people using smartphones. That means, I mean, you can listen to music on the smartphone.
Yes,
you
you
can
can.
listen to anything. So that penetration alone
Yes.
is a door for disruption
Right.
and a door for a market
Yeah.
where people can really get market share.
You also, you said previously कि यहाँ पे, ideas बहुत थे, capital नहीं था, or, it was hard to find capital. And, from my experience, being in the Valley, sometimes companies are not ready for that institutional capital, but then go out and get it anyways, right? And so tell us from your experience, I mean, you have a venture background, a PE background, tell us when a company is at this point where it's ready for institutional capital.
I think so. When you're building a company, थोड़ा product market fit है कि जी आपने अपने पहले 100 customer ढूंढे हैं. You found someone to pay for some problem you're trying to solve for, right?
Yes.
That's great, but I think the main gap between a company that's just starting up to a company that's raising capital is, okay, have they found product market fit?
Okay.
Can they build a team? And then can they scale?
Okay.
I think that is where, if you see that, I don't know if the number is about few hundred companies that raise capital in Pakistan, it's a very small percentage that were able to go from pre-seed to a seed stage. And I think that aspect is that you can only be ready to raise capital if the idea you have is actually giving the returns you think they can. And eventually, I think I have a very traditional thought on this. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
So as Collabs, we are not a tech company. We are a tech-enabled company.
Yes.
But at the same time, we are one of the few companies in the country where we are, net profit positive.
Yeah.
We broke even in the first 9 months.
That's incredible.
So for us, raising capital was there to sort of accelerate our growth.
Yes.
But at the same time, it wasn't there कि जी अच्छा हम capital अगर raise नहीं करेंगे तो बंद हो जाएंगे. In the last 12 to 24 months, you must have seen all across the world globally, hundreds of startups, thousands have shut down.
Yes, they have. Yes.
Because they were based on the fact that they were raising capital and burning it to run operations. And very, very large names.
Yeah.
People that had raised for, e-scooters, delivery apps, X, Y, Z, you can name them. But the idea is that model in the last 24 months, when you've seen the recession in VC and PE, has come out, and now people actually want to build businesses that make money.
Yes, they do.
But if you look at PE, or you look at traditional businesses, like a traditional grocery shop, or a traditional restaurant chain, has always made money.
Yes, they are.
And they've always scaled.
Yes.
So I think people now have realized, and even founders for the first time, that unless you can make a business that can give you profitability, it becomes very hard for you to just keep on raising money.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Why should outside investors be interested in putting their money in Pakistan?
I think very easy. 250 million people, like fifth largest country in the world, right?
Okay, yeah.
fourth largest English-speaking country in the world.
It is. Yeah, the people don't know that actually,
Right?
which
Fourth
is very
largest
interesting.
English
Yeah,
speaking.
it is.
We have over 3 million freelancers.
Yeah.
Freelancers, 3
That's
million
wild.
plus,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
We recently ran a program, which is a Collabs freelancer program.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
And the idea is that we do build spaces out to provide space for startups, organizations, corporates, but at the same time, we are also scaling that up, right?
Yeah.
So the idea is, when you compare those numbers to anywhere else globally,
Yeah.
it's like shocking, right? I mean,
Right.
Lahore, the population is 12 million.
Yeah, that's wild.
Karachi is like 24, 25 million.
Yeah.
The whole population of Austria is like 3 million people, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you take all of
Canada,
Britain,
like it's,
So I think in terms of numbers,
Yeah.
the sheer scale, and if you look at any estimate today, by 2050,
Yes.
they say that Pakistan, Indonesia, and Nigeria,
Yeah.
they will be the 3 leading economies in the world.
That's wild.
Because as you grow,
Yes.
and I think the other thing also, Europe,
Yeah.
your average age is like 40, 45 plus.
Mm-hmm.
Pakistan, the median age is like 26, 24, 5,
Yes,
right? So
yes,
that
yes.
means that these young people
population, yeah.
will consume,
Yes.
they're going to use phones,
Yes.
they're going to use data,
Yes.
and anyone doing anything through that
Yeah.
will, like, I mean, I'm 34.
Yeah.
10 years ago,
Yeah.
you had access to a Nokia,
Yes.
had no idea what was going on in the world.
Yeah.
Today, a 16-year-old
Yeah.
can go on TikTok and see
Yes.
what's happening in France, Timbuktu,
Everywhere. Yeah,
Europe. And
of
I think
course, yeah.
that is the digitization that's changed the world.
Mm.
And why Pakistan? Like, you will see a random Pakistani page or influencer
Yeah,
or a artist having
Yeah.
7-8 million followers.
Bilkul.
A random Pakistani
Yes.
guy can have like 20 million TikTok followers.
Yes.
That in the US and Europe is just not there
Yeah.
because they don't have those numbers, right? So
Yeah.
it's like the scale is obviously there's a huge issue today with regards to spending power
Mm-hmm.
and ability to spend,
Mm-hmm.
and the consumer does not have that same spending
Mhm.
power as the European and developed countries. But at the same time, the population number is so large that if you take a 10, 20-year view,
Mm-hmm.
Pakistan is.
You know, that makes a lot of sense. We were filming like our last season, and in that we went to, these villages near Wagah border, and we're filming, partition survivors, and हम उन्हें बता रहे हैं कि हमारा YouTube channel and everything. And their first question, how many subscribers do you have? Subscribers कितने हैं? Watch hours कितने हैं? Like, views कितने आते हैं? And I'm just like, what? Right? And they have like a very good knowledge of like, like the metrics that a YouTube channel is measured by, right? And I was not expecting that, but they're so well versed in all of this that I was very impressed. And so I see what you're saying. So for all of the aspiring founders out here, watching you right now, what is some advice that you have for them?
I think primarily it's build a business that is sustainable.
Gotcha.
Don't build a business to raise capital.
Okay.
And also build something where you actually think you can create impact.
Yes.
And I think those 2 things are the most important thing. Sustainability and impact. If they're side by side, I think they can make a huge difference. And that's something that we really need to push on. I think what's next for Collabs, we are scaling all across Pakistan.
Yeah.
We've raised north of like $4 million.
Yeah.
We are looking to open spaces tomorrow in Saudi,
Wonderful.
UAE,
Yes.
Jordan, and
Yes.
I think the next step for us is how do we really take over the Middle East, and we need partners like you to
That's
talk about us.
incredible. Yeah.
And
yeah.
anyone wanting to come all across
Yeah.
from the US, anywhere,
Yeah.
please reach out to us. Available online. You can reach out to us on LinkedIn or Twitter.
Yeah.
Happy to speak, and
Yeah.
thank you for hosting us.
Of course, no, thank you so much for powering this season.
No, of
having
course,
us,
anytime.
Having us in your wonderful space. We've
course,
spoken
of
to
course.
so many great founders. So thank you for being on
anytime.
the show, and thank you guys for watching this season. You guys have had, a last few months of just watching all these incredible founders and startups that are coming out of Pakistan. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Inshallah, of course, I'll be back with another season of Shaam Ki Chai. Allah Hafiz.